Alrighty, let's go. So, what we are doing is soldering our PCB. So this PCB is available on, I'll put the files up on OshPark. And so pretty much anybody who wants it would be able to use those files to print out their own PCB. What I thought I should do is upload a video showing the soldering, so that you kind of have an idea of what to do with it once you get the PCB. Now I'll just add this little bit here, and then I'll show you what it is. So basically that's how the PCB comes. It's often worthwhile just soldering off some of the edges because they've got little sharp pins on the side, just from where they're attached to brother and sister PCBs. So it's catch on things. Now, what I'm putting on the back is, where are we? There. So this is 2x20 pin female header pin. This I just got off eBay. And so I've bought a few different kind of specialized header pins that just fit exactly what I want very nicely. Now you don't need to do that. I like it because it's tidy and looks good. But if I was, if I just wanted to get it done, you can get like 1x40 pin and then just cut it to size. And so you would kind of you'd cut that for a couple of them. You'd probably need 20, 20, so that's 40, 10, 10, 10, 10, that's another 40. Realistically, you'd probably need 3x40. So I'll just talk as I'm going through this. Not the best at doing two things at once. But anyway, I use this little header pin here just to balance it so that the board doesn't kind of move all over the place. I normally have light on this, but my light runs off a USB battery, which has run out at the right time. So long as my camera doesn't run out just as we're in the middle of this, or my solder doesn't run out, both of which are running a bit low. Unfortunately, I did one of these whole ones and then the OLED screen didn't work, which is not what I was hoping for. I'm just going to do something slightly different on this one to try to make that not a problem. So these, realistically or potentially, you only need to do one of these 2x10 header pins. What they're here for is that they connect, I don't get that at all, very tightly to the Brook USB, or if you use one of those Pico based boards, then they just clip right on top of that, so you don't have to think about connecting wires and so on. If you had a Brook USB and you use the screw terminals at the front, you'd only have to do one of these. But my setup's got the controller plugged into their 2x10 2x10 male header pins, and so I just need a way to kind of bring that out. So essentially the Pico, or the Pico 2W is connected to the pins, this 2x10, and then that's connected to the Brook USB. Okay, that looks good. So soldered on there. The next thing we do, these are little 6x6 by 5mm buttons off eBay again. I find them very convenient. I think soon I'll move on to using the surface mounted ones that are a lot more common, but they just fit very nicely into projects like this. Now I'll show you one thing that I do. I'll often make little 3D printed supports, and so that clips nicely on top there, and I can use another one I've used before, just so when you flip it over the buttons don't all fall out, which saves a lot of time. Good. Oops, pressure in the wrong spot. Always try to do one of each, just so that they're secure, so if it moves after that, it's not a big deal. Feels as though these buttons aren't quite pushed in the whole way. Oh, that's come off. And it doesn't matter because we're already locked in. Right, so those buttons are all done. Next, this is a screw terminal, and so that goes in the middle here. Just want to make sure you've got the right orientation because it's easy to get it wrong. And then these are 1x20 female header pin. Like I said, if you were just going with what you can locally get instead of getting the exact ones off eBay, you'd probably get a 1x40 and then cut it to length. Now I put the picot in now just because the screw terminal will often push the header pins apart, and then it won't go nicely once you're in. And so this just helps to get it a bit tidier and better. Again, trying to do it so that I've got the four corners secured, because then I can pretty much take my picot off. I'm not a big fan of soldering with devices attached, and I wonder, not sure, I wonder if that's what I've done with my last one to cause problems with the OLED screen. Or maybe it was just the OLED screen's fault. So having done that, we'll pull off the picot. It is possible to bend the pins doing that, so I'll just try to be careful. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to solder our screw terminal here, because it can drop down and just sit in the wrong place. So when I design PCBs, and I've just, as with everything, taught myself through YouTube and read a little bit around as well, I try to think about, so this is a two-layer PCB, It is from Osh Park. The next thing I'd like to do, I use a program called Libre PCB, which is free and fairly straightforward to use. I do want to push myself to learn KiCad, because the advantage of that will be that I can assemble these PCBs. Now my battery on my camera is running low, so I'll skip this and come back to it off screen. The last little bits that I want to do is I'll pop this one in here. Important to make sure you've got it the right way round. I'll put this one in here. That's the right way round. And I'll just solder those on for position. So the 5-pin is for GPS or optocouplers. It kind of almost works like a breakout board for this PCB. The 4-pin one here is for LEDs, and so I've got you can buy a little 3 LED circuit off eBay again. I think it might be at our local electronics, and use that to show what we're up to. And then last, I'll just put on this 4-pin female header here. Again, if it was you're using what you can get locally, you would have to just cut down to get to the size. And with that on, I'll just make sure he's looking straightish. That's probably about it. So it'll be pico, the photo transistors, buttons here. This will be for the OLED. This is for our GPS or optocouplers if we need it. These are for our LEDs. So I'll spend a bit of time adding the rest, but that is the basic layout.